Guys, good morning. Today is Wednesday, August 9th. Wow. I am so busy already for hours and hours. I've processed hundreds of pounds of Roma tomatoes. I can't even, like, my freezer's almost out of room. I have to learn how to actually can and keep shelves of tomato gravy. So, I mean, it's just, it's another one of those days, but I was walking around out here watering the tomato garden, and I'm just amazed that there's new tomatoes up top, and I was actually able to get a couple of cucumbers. So this really does my heart good, because even though the cucumbers showed up really late, I didn't think they were going to show up at all. So the fact that I'm getting at least 6 cucumbers a week right now is like, it really does my heart good, because that's exactly what I need. I would like to have more than that because we munch on them, and you know, it's good stuff. But anyway, I'm so grateful for anything that I can get. But it's been a very active session out here this morning with beautiful, what look to be fresh tiger swallowtail butterflies, because they're pristine and they have beautiful tails, and everything is a flutter. We've had a lot of hummingbird activity, and everything is still enjoying the flowers. So I'm going to give you just a quick look at the height of some of these tomato plants, which are still just growing by the day. We had a pretty big storm the other night, and there's one coming on Thursday. You'll see this after that second storm comes, but you know, let's hope that this image that I'm about to show you stays the same after the storm that they're saying could potentially be worse than the other day. So as always, I'm starting off in this wonderful tomato bed that we started, and this this trellis is a good bit over my head. I don't know, 7 feet maybe, but you can see that we're just full of Thorburns terracotta, and we are full of Black Beauty tomato babies, lots of blossoms. This year we're going to put an actual piece of cattle panel across the top of the trellis so that everything can just grab on and hang. So here's one of the great loves of my life from this season, which is the Dr. Witchies. Look, even up high we have nice big tomatoes. This is an aggressive plant, Pauline. If you're going to plant Dr. Witchies and Mortgage Lifter, here's what you're going to look like in August. So you're going to want to make sure, Pauline, that you have a structure at least this big with a piece of hog panel or cattle panel, and you want to invest in some of these little clips and some good stakes, because even though you're going to have the cattle panel all trellised up, it really does benefit from having some spare stakes, because if you're going to allow any of the suckers to grow, they're going to need substantial staking. So look at this beautiful Mortgage Lifter. Wow, they're cracking now, but I think it's just because of the extreme weather that we're having between heat and moisture, and just the heat has been just killer. I'm so tired today, you guys. I woke up at my normal 6 o'clock rise, and it was so hard, even with a cup of coffee. I mean, the air was a little bit cool. The bird room was chilly, which is where we have our coffee in the morning during the week. And I was so tired and cold. I got under the blanket and laid there on the recliner and had my coffee, and it was really a rough start to the day. Wow, but I'm standing here and I can see beautiful zucchini flowers glowing through the canopy. This is the original zucchini plant. I don't know if you can see them back there. Right through there. Wow, amazing. And the butterflies are just loving it. My monarch friend, which is one of many. There's just dozens of flowers out here attracting everything. Where you going, little one? So many beautiful butterflies. Now, you know, some are at the end of their life, and you can see, oh, hi. They're at the end of their life because you can see that they're all faded and they have holes in their wings. And then you see the new ones fluttering around, and hi. I feel like I'm in a botanical garden sometimes. This time of the day is the most beautiful. And when the butterflies and the hummingbirds are present, it just is a gift. So I try to take a few minutes, you know, even though I have 3 big sheets of tomatoes in the oven that I'm allowing to dry. I have a vat of gravy that I'll be making today. I have to chop 6 big bulbs of garlic, and the birds needed to come out and get some air because it's going to be hot again today. But as I stand here looking at this giant Dr. Witchies, oh my goodness, look at them. Is this incredible or what? I mean, you can see they have a little bit of pest pressure from squash bugs, you know, trying to bore through to, you know, just to get a drink, because that's what they do. They taste and waste, like some people that I know, but I won't go there. That's another video. So, you know, you can see the little marks, but it's all good. You know, often these marks are just surface or superficial blemishes, so you can, you know, just cut the skin away, or just cut the piece of tomato away. There's plenty of tomato to enjoy, so hopefully you're not wasting too much if you're running into blemishes on your fruit, especially at this time of year. Everything is so tall and beautiful. These tomato plants, they're reaching up for the sky. So, and I love it because there's little tiny tomato babies up there. So we'll have Dr. Witchies and Mortgage Lifter through the season, as long as the wind and the garden allow us to, you know, continue to have it. So I see lots of eggplants to harvest today, still lots and lots of flowers. And I want to show you something real quick. You guys, this is the same zinnia. I have to go back and get the date of when I first started to film this actual flower. It's the same actual flower that's just hanging on forever. The butterflies are still feasting from it. Here's the same senorita. And you know, the storm did bring them down a little bit, so they're leaning. And here's that same beautiful red California giant. Zinnias are a flower that I'm going to highly recommend more than ever, because the way they change and what they do. And when you can watch a butterfly land, as you've seen in some of the video, and actually go yellow flower to yellow flower to yellow flower and find a feast in there, it makes me feel like I'm able to feed this garden, and in return it pollinates everything for me. So the butterflies are very, very happy here this year. So Farmer John came out and cleaned up the walkway of the ever-pressing Bright Lights Cosmos, which are wonderful, but they do grow aggressively and they do lean when, look at that cute little bee, when the storms come. Look at Hungarian Heart, growing like crazy. Oh, I got a little blossom end rod up there, which is to be expected, you guys. It's just one tomato, because if you look at this one, these are all in beautiful, pristine condition. So it's really impossible to make everything perfect in these types of conditions. Reaching for the sky once again, more than 7 feet. I don't know, some of these tomatoes look like they're reaching for 10 feet up. So now I've been talking about these Xanthos Cosmos. They could be Kiro. I have so many varieties, but gosh, they sure are pretty. They're so delicate. The butterflies just really enjoy them very much. Classic Beef is another tomato that I'm going to recommend. I have to get in here and prune it, but you can see that this is the worst of expected blight and die-off just from the temperatures and everything. Classic Beef has been producing very regularly big giant fruit. They do seem to be very disease resistant, and I think that's because they benefited from a very, you know, big healthy feeding before you know, before the season started. When they went in the ground, they grew in good fertilizer. After they were seedlings and they got up potted, they had good fertilizer. So that's really part of the success of the Hungarian Heart and the Classic Beef. Now I think Abe Lincoln, you know, Abe Lincoln takes up a lot of real estate, as you can see. Lots of blossoms. It gets occasional fruit. I'm still evaluating whether or not Abe Lincoln's going to come into the garden next year. But Brandywine is another one that surprised me, because I thought with all its blight issues that Brandywine probably wasn't going to make the cut, but Brandywine still might make the cut for next year. And then we have Park Swappers on the rebound. Look at this. Wow. Totally coming back, reaching up for the sky. So I'm glad that, you know, that look, and this one, this branch here was like almost completely melted down and dead, and it came back, has flowers on it. So we did come out and fertilize everything again. So this is really encouraging, because now I'm certain we're going to have a lot of varieties of different tomatoes for at least through September at a minimum. As long as we don't have any big frost or anything, or any big storms to knock them off, I'll be able to pull some of these more long-standing tomatoes, like the Kellogg's Breakfast Yellow, which is probably my absolute favorite of the year. The Kellogg stands for a long time, so if I can get tomatoes out here to a good size and they have a little tiny bit of blush to them, I'll be able to pull them off in October and let them sit on the kitchen window, and we usually have tomatoes. Well, Roma tomatoes won't quit. They just keep producing, even though, again, the plant's melted. These are the M.I. Gardner Roma tomatoes, you guys. And I do recommend them over the Martinos. The Martinos from Baker Creek take up a lot of real estate. They're very tiny little fruit compared to these. I've pulled hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these tomatoes. So this is the last of the batch. And even though a few of the plants are showing flowers, like I'll probably let this one live, because it's still producing babies, which is kind of shocking. You can see it's got some big giant fruit down there. Look at this. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of tomatoes. So the M.I. Gardner Roma tomato is another good one to grow. I found a few rogue zucchinis. This one is pretty big, but it's not truly a baseball bat yet. But you gotta watch out when you pull them at this stage, because the squash bugs did hatch, so it'll have those little tiny blue bugs climbing all over it. So I'm just letting them sit out here for a few minutes, and I'll rinse them off before I let them sit on the counter. So anyway, you guys, the birds are screaming because they want to go back into their breakfast. I can see a beautiful tiger swallowtail sitting on the zinnia here at the Black Beauty tomato. She's just calling out to me. Oh, I would love it if I could get it into this frame. Can we see it? Oh, there it is. Oh. So they just come and go, and they do as they please, and quite frankly, I'm very jealous of the life of a butterfly while it's living in its most beautiful free moments, where it can just fly away, it can land and feast. All it has to do is fly at its own choice. It doesn't have the pressures that we have as humans. So I could get lost out here chasing the butterflies around through the garden. They just kind of guide me, and I just could follow them all day long. So anyway, you guys, thanks for spending the morning with me. You hear the screaming parrot? I gotta get to work. I'll see you guys in the next video.